Hey everyone, welcome to Area 616. Yesterday, Entertainment Weekly released a series of photos and interviews from the set of X-Men Dark Phoenix, the 7th film in the X-Men series and the 20th movie in the franchise as a whole. So today, I wanted to go over some of the things that were revealed there, as well as the pictures released. As usual, I'll be doing this in 3 parts: who, which is who's in it and who's making it; what, which is the story; and when, which is when it's coming out, and when we can expect a trailer. But before all that, unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard that Disney is now very close to reaching a deal to buy Fox, with reports saying that they're planning to announce it to the public next week. This means that by next week, we might finally know for sure that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are in the MCU. I'm of course planning to make a video on it as soon as the news is officially released, so I just wanted to let you guys know that in case you were wondering why I haven't talked much about this. I just wanted to wait until it was official. But with that said, that deal does also mean that this movie, X-Men Dark Phoenix, could potentially be the last in-canon X-Men movie before they move to the MCU. Pretty interesting, right? This is being directed by first-time director Simon Kinberg, but he has been a producer on every X-Men film since X-Men First Class, as well as a writer for X-Men The Last Stand, though that's not exactly a major achievement on his part.
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
He's also the only screenwriter for it listed on IMDb, so this is very much his movie. And as for who's actually in it, we know that Professor X, Magneto, and Mystique are all in it because apparently you can't have an X-Men movie without the 3 of them anymore. We also know that Cyclops, Beast, Storm, Nightcrawler, Quicksilver, and obviously Jean Grey are all in it as well. Olivia Munn posted a Snapchat of herself in Montreal, Canada, which is where this was filmed, meaning that Psylocke could quite possibly be in this as well, though I have no idea how. On IMDb, Toad is also listed on here, though he's said to be rumored. Jessica Chastain has joined the cast of X-Men Dark Phoenix in an unrevealed, assumedly villainous role. She's described as an otherworldly shapeshifter who comes into contact with Phoenix. Early rumors said she was Magistrix Lilandra, a ruler of the Shi'ar Empire. However, that character has never been able to shapeshift in the comics to my knowledge. So the new theory is that she's a Skrull, who both Marvel Studios and Fox share the rights to. The tone of this movie is described as kind of bleak and emotional, with James McAvoy saying it's the most pathos-driven X-Men film, which is to say it's going to be sad. Story-wise, pretty much all we know is that the X-Men go to space, and that Jean Grey emerges as the Phoenix because of a solar flare, though based on some details given as well as some of the photos, we can gather a bit more. Dark Phoenix takes place in 1992, 10 years after the events of X-Men Apocalypse. The X-Men, now officially immortal, unaging gods... That's not right, hang on. Oh, okay. I'm told apparently they aren't immortal, unaging gods, and Professor X somehow just happens to remain about 35 over the course of literally 30 years. Remember, the first X-Men movie with him in it was set in 1962. Anyway, the X-Men are now actually seen as heroes by the general public, a change to the movie's usual formula. However, this has a negative effect on Professor X, who is said to have grown a bit of an ego, and has been sending the X-Men on increasingly dangerous missions, including one where they go to space, which, according to Jennifer Lawrence, happens about 5 minutes into the movie. The purpose of this space mission is to save some astronauts. From there, all we know is that the X-Men have to deal with one of their own becoming their greatest threat, which is indeed an emotional time. We also know that there's a big twist about halfway through the movie that apparently irrevocably changes the X-Men films forever. Based on photos, this could be a death, as we do see a funeral. However, if I were to guess, I'd say this funeral actually occurs kinda early on. My bet is that the space mission at the beginning goes sour and Jean Grey is actually killed. I said that with quotation marks, which you couldn't see, but I did. You'll notice that she's not in this group here, although Mystique, Beast, and Quicksilver aren't either. So maybe this is the big twist. Maybe all 4 of these X-Men die halfway through, with only Jean being resurrected. Either way, I do think at least a death will result from the mission, and I think Jean will probably be left behind, as we see this picture showing wreckage in space and a fiery Jean floating in space, likely just being hit by solar flares. So I think the X-Men will go on this mission. It'll be mostly a disaster with them thinking Jean is dead, and she's actually floating in space all phoenixed up, and that's where Jessica Chastain's character finds her, and the plot progresses from there. X-Men Dark Phoenix will hit theaters on November 2nd, 2018, which is a pretty different time compared to the other X-Men movies. Typically, they release their movies in the first half of the year, in the February to July range. We'll probably get our first trailer for this in March next year. X-Men Apocalypse released its first trailer in December 2015, 6 months before its release. This is a bit before that time window, but I do think they'll want to put a teaser out to play alongside New Mutants in April. So it'll either be late March or early April. I'll be honest, I have my doubts about this movie. Apocalypse was really bad, in my opinion, and we've already had a Phoenix movie which was even worse than Apocalypse. Of course, The Last Stand was made by a terrible scumbag, but the point still stands. This could feel a bit like retreading old territory, except this time, this version of Jean Grey has literally only been in one movie, and that's my main concern, is that Jean just won't be developed enough for us to really care when she turns into the Phoenix. I haven't seen X-Men Apocalypse in a long time, but from what I remember, she was just kind of a bland character in that movie, so they have some real work to do here. Overall though, I'll of course be there to see it, and I'm hoping it's good. Fox has had a winning streak between Deadpool, Legion, Logan, and The Gifted, so hopefully next year's releases live up to that. But that's pretty much everything we know so far about X-Men Dark Phoenix. Are you guys excited for this movie, or do you think it'll suck? Who do you think Jessica Chastain's alien shapeshifter is? Let me know all your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
Sweet